Sec 4 NA Revision Checklist Part 2G, Changing Subject Formula. Changing subject formula. Now in part A of the question, I'm given A to be this equation. Now calculate the value of A when B equals to 12.7, A17 and C equals to 1.615. Write the correct answer to two decimal places. So that means I need to show a little bit of working. A will now be equals to B times C plus 2 over 5 minus C. So write down the working. 12.17, C is 1.615, 1.615. Now calculate the following. I got the answer to be this, and now I need to record it to correct it to two decimal places. The second decimal places is here, and this one will need to round up. Then this will round up and it will become 13.002 dp. Have you gotten the answer? That's for part A. Now part B says rearrange the formula to make C the subject. So there are a couple of things to take note, some regular skills that we do. Number one, if it's a fraction, we're going to remove the denominator. So what can we do? We should put this as A over 1, and we can do cross multiplication. When we do cross multiplication, the equal sign stays at the center. So this will be A, the denominator 5 minus C cross over to the left side. And this is B bracket C plus 2. Now we expand and simplify. We have brackets all over the place. So that will be 5A minus CA, BC plus 2B. Now what's the subject that we want? We want C to be our subject. Then I'll tell you my next few steps is G, F, D. Okay, usually what I tell my students, the girlfriend died. Okay, but not a very nice one for you. So for me, I'll group all my letters C together. So where can C be? This is B and C, and since this one is minus CA, so I'm going to bring it over here to change it to plus CA. Okay, and then what is on the left hand side originally is 5A. I'm going to group the term that does not have letter C here to become minus 2B. Then next, I'm going to factorize out the common factor. Now all the C are together, isn't it? So I'll factorize out C and left with B plus A. And this is 5A minus 2B. Then finally, in order to get the C, I'm going to divide by B plus A. So therefore, C is equals to 5A minus 2B over B plus A. So have you gotten the answer? Some of the steps that we use. Number one, if we have fraction, cross multiply. Then we expand and simplify. And then we rearrange, we group, factorize, and then divide. So these are some of the common skills that we will need to use throughout the whole of this part of the lesson. Now we shall move on with the next question. Given that W equals to half M bracket V square minus U square, find the value of W when M equals to 3, V squared 10 square minus U is 4 square. So I'm going to leave this to my calculator. And I got the answer 126. So shouldn't be much of a problem. Now let's look at the question. W equals to half M bracket V square minus U square. Now what I don't like is I don't like denominators. So there's a denominator 2. I can try to multiply away. So I'm going to multiply 2 to the other side to every part of the term. So this will be 2w. Now this whole thing is actually seen as half times m times v square minus u square. So if we're going to multiply by a 2, the 2 and the 2 will cancel away. So we'll be left with just m v square minus u square. Now, what do we want to make as a subject? We want u. I want u. Okay. We want u. Okay, u is now trapped inside my bracket. So what can we do? I know that some students, they will probably divide away m first and then do addition and subtraction. Well, it can be done as well. But for me, preferably, I like to follow to my basic steps where I expand and simplify. So this is 2w mv square minus mu square. Now I try to make my u positive, so I'm going to shift this over to the left hand side so that it's positive. And keep mv square over here, not moving. But 2w comes over, will be negative 2w. Now before I find what is u, there is a bodyguard here, m. Okay, and then there's a power here. So what do you need to do? This means there's m units of u square. So I cannot do a square root first. I'll need to get rid of the m units first. So I'm going to divide everything by m. So u square is now this whole expression. And if I want to get the letter u only, the answer will just be u equals to, when I take square root, it will be plus or minus square root mv square minus 2w over m. Now put the criminal inside the jail. Remember the lock and key. Okay. Now there are other versions of this answer. So some students, they will prefer to, from this step, they will do 2w over m. If I were to sort places, u square equals to, then u will be equals to plus or minus square root . Okay, we actually have the same answer as this. Just the only difference is that this was not a single fraction, but we have a single fraction over here. Okay, have you gotten the concept? Now we're going to move on to the next question. Okay, given that v equals to 2 over 3 square root 2gh, well, there is a fraction again, and on top of that, I have square root symbol. So I'm going to get rid of my fraction first. I don't like my denominator. So that will be, I'm multiplying it. That will be 3v to be equals to, well, I have 2 over 3 times square root of something. If I multiply by 3, the 3 and 3 cancel away. I'm left with 2 square root 2gh. But well, I want to make h my subject. H is trapped inside my square root. And on top of that, not only just the square root, outside there's still another number. This is 2 times the square root of this, 2 units of it. So in this case, before I take square root, I must find 1 unit of just 2gh first. Okay, so I will divide this by 2. That will be 3v over 2. Oh, fraction. Okay, never mind. Anyway, my objective, h now has no more fraction, so I'm going to try to work towards h. Now, h is trapped inside the jail. How to remove the jail? This is a square root, so we square both sides. So the moment we square it, the square root sign disappears, and we are left with 2gh. So now the criminal is a free man. Okay, and we will have whole thing square. We're going to square this. When we square this means the square must apply for the number, the letter, and the denominator. So 3 square will become the number 9. V square, 2 will become 4 square. 2 square is 4. So now this is 2GH. Okay, what are we going to do now? We're going to try to get H. We're going to divide away 2G. So if I'm going to divide away 2G, that means where will 2G appear? Would it appear in the numerator or denominator? So you actually appear in the denominator on both sides, isn't it? So if I'm going to divide by 2G, I'm going to divide by another 2G over here. So my denominator will also have 2G. Okay, but this is not the proper way of writing it. I shall delete away this and I show you, explain to you clearly. So I'm going to divide by 2G, right, so as to get H. So, but what is 9V squared over 4 divided by 2G? This is actually G over 1. So I'll have 9V squared over 4 times 1 over 2G. Then the 2G is in the denominator. So if I were to multiply these denominator together, I will have 4 times 2G. That will give me 9V squared. 9V squared is with 1. So just still 9V squared. 4 times 2G will give me 8G. And this is H. Now they want H as the subject. We shall make H the king. So H is now on the throne. 9V squared over 8G. So remember to put H in front. Have you gotten the concept? Now let's move on to the next question. Last question for the day. Now, oh no, this has so many denominators. I cannot cross multiply here directly in this case. Why is that so? Because I have 2 separate fractions over here, not one single fraction. So I cannot cross multiply. Then what should I do? Oh, I can actually make them into the same denominator first. So this is 1 over F will be equals to, what is going to be the denominator? U and V, so UV. So if that's the case, I need to multiply V to here, U to this side. So it's V plus U. Okay, now I have one single fraction on the left hand side and the right hand side. I can cross multiply. Okay, so this equal sign stays in the center, cross over UV and F times this whole thing. That will be UV equals to F times V and UF. Okay, and now this question say make U the subject, U. Okay, so I'm going to G, F, D. Okay, group together UV and I'm going to bring the UF over, that's minus UF and left with FV on this side. Factorize out the letter U, bracket V minus F, FV. And I will have last one, D, divide away. So U is now equals to FV over V minus F. Have you gotten the answer? We have come to the end of today's lesson. Now we hope that you have studied and revised a little bit more on algebra. Now see you for the next lesson.